Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another dungeon guide for instances within the world of Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. Today we look at the level 16 to 18 dungeon, the Tam Tara Deepcroft, situated in the Central Shroud near the Bent Branch Meadows. This is exactly south of Gridania. If you are getting here by foot, you will leave the southern side of New Gridania through the Blue Badger Gate and head directly south, and Tam Tara will be near the Bent Branch Meadows. This particular instance requires you to be on the level 15 story quest, Fire in the Gloom. However, it does require you to be level 16 to actually queue for the dungeon. This dungeon should take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes depending on your party strengths. So what exactly is the objective of the Tam Tara Deepcroft? Well, there are priests in here who are trying to do bad things, and they are indeed using these giant purple cultist orbs, which you may have seen in the air, and they are located at each of the next 3 altars on the way down. The dungeon is basically a spiral staircase with rooms off to the side. If you picture that in your head, it is very simple to navigate. A lot of the rooms off to the side, like I said, are purely for treasure coffers and can contain pretty much random loot, anything from tin pieces to the best legs you've ever seen, pretty much. So you want to make a decision based on your party whether or not you want to do a full clear of the dungeon, going in every room and clearing all of the loot, or if you're just cutting the time in half by just going straight through and cleaving your way towards the end boss, which is completely doable. But make sure you have a clear plan of action if you are going in a pug before you pull, as you may wipe from obviously being overwhelmed if one of the pug members decides that he can go in the room and solo the mobs, which is not going to happen. So that said, let's have a look at the fights. Now, a lot of the fights are essentially copy-pasted. There are 3 locations where the orbs are that you need to deactivate, and the fights do differ slightly, but the fights are very similar. The priest slash sort of LvL has his minions. Simply defeat the minions first and then you attack the sub-boss. Each of these priests has a second form after you deplete the first life bar. They'll transform into this void soul counter, which is only slightly tougher to defeat, and to be honest, and only has like a frontal cone ability which is very easily avoidable and doesn't really do any significant damage, so you can easily get past this. So I don't deem it necessary to talk about every single pack in the entire dungeon. That shouldn't come any surprise to you really. It's very simple fights, 3 to 4 mobs in a pack with a patrolling mob behind. Don't pull the patrol, kill the mobs and then kill the patrol onwards, and that's simply as you do. If you do choose any of the optional rooms, it's pretty much the same sort of size mobs. You're not going to get caught out unless you do let someone pull those mobs along with the mobs you're currently fighting. Then you're probably going to have a corpse run all the way back. But apart from that, they're fairly straightforward, and we're going to just skip on showing the altars as we go down now. As I told you, they're all very similar, the altars, so we're going to be going through those as well very quickly. So you may notice that the last 2 priest altars do require you to have an item to break this sealed barrier. In the room nearby to the second to last one, you will find the Cultist Rosary, an item which allows you to break through the barrier and gain access. This will be required for the next 2 fights and indeed the last boss, so make sure you do grab this. There's no way of skipping it, and I will point out the location now. So let's move on to the actual boss. This is the final boss, technically the 4th boss, however it's really the main boss. Galvanth the Dominator, the little squid bloke. You may have seen this guy from a trailer and he is pretty cool. But this fight can be pretty lengthy depending on how you react to his attacks and the skill level of your group. Galvanth has a pretty nasty AoE which you will notice him casting when the ground turns red. You definitely want to move away from this area when it turns red. It is a spell that will cause paralysis to anybody who gets caught by it. You have a few seconds to move out of this before the spell is actually triggered, with the red mark obviously being a signifier. There are 3 ad phases in the fight. From my experience, they happen at 75, 50% and 25% health. Note that the impads can actually interrupt your heals, so it's important to have your DPS take them out first. Pretty much take the ads out, take the boss, take the ads out, take the boss, and repeat. For healers, it's important to note when ads do come in, stay close to your tank, as they can manage the ads better and in turn make your life easier without having to run halfway across the dungeon to get to you. So the first ads phase will have 1 imp, the second ad phase will be 1 imp and some trash mobs, and the third ad phase will be 2 imps and some more trash mobs. Be careful with the last phase, it will save you time and effort to save your limit break for either the healer, or if you have a thaumaturge in your party, let them use it in this phase, as it will destroy everything. If you don't know the thaumaturge's limit break, it is essentially summoning meteors that will do massive ad damage, so it is definitely in your best interest to use that here. After you've done that and you've managed to follow those instructions, avoid the things on the ground and manage the ads, and worked well together as your team and have picked up that gear, you have finished your second dungeon instance for the Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn world. And I hope you had some fun watching this video, and hopefully it was interesting and offered some insight as to how you can easily do for Tam Tara Deepcroft. My name is Meoni of AceGamesTV. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this and many other games as well weekly. So, until then, next time, I will see you later.